So I don't think you can imagine Mario Kart without tricking. It's definitely a mechanic that has become a staple of the series. It got introduced in Mario Kart Wii, which, yeah, that sounds very weird to say, but ever since then it's been in the game franchise and is a welcomed return in Mario Kart 8 as well. And now that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has finally released their first wave of DLC, it has made me pick up the game once again. And while doing so, I realized that some of the characters that I play, they have pretty cool tricks, but others, they just kinda wave their fist in the air and that's that. It's pretty fucking lame. So that sparked the interest to even make this video to begin with, where I will go through every single character in the game and rank all of their tricks. So I guess without further ado, let's get into the video.
So what is tricking?
Well, look at this guy, he hasn't played Mario Kart. Well, don't worry, I'll explain it to you. What is tricking? Well, tricking is when you drive off a glider ramp, a regular ramp, bumps in the road, or anything that makes you airborne, kinda like this car with a surfboard. Okay, yeah, sure. So right before you become airborne, you press your drift button or the right trigger, and your character will do a little bit of a trick. They'll strike a pose, and once you land, you'll get a little bit of a speed boost. There's also car tricks, depending on which direction you hold the analog stick while tricking. If you hold it forward, you'll do a front flip. If you hold it backwards, you'll do a back flip, and sideways, you'll either do a barrel roll or just a 360 in that direction. But for the sake of this video, we will keep the analog stick neutral so that we can focus on the character animation and the character trick itself. We'll also put every single character in a tier list, ranking from S tier, which is the best, into D tier, which is the worst. Every single character has around 6 tricks. There's 3 for the car vehicle, and there's 3 for the motorcycle vehicle. 2 of those you'll always see depending on where you trick, while 1 of those is locked away for the anti-gravity sections. Some characters though, they sadly don't have 6 tricks, but I'll cover those when we get to them. I won't say too much about every single trick, cause there's quite a lot of tricks to cover, and if I have something to say I will just say it, but most of them I'll just give a quick simple opinion. Alright, so finally we can begin with Mario. So for being the representation and the Mr. Nintendo man, Mario doesn't stand out too much. His card tricks are very basic. His anti-gravity card trick is pretty alright. He does the iconic, you know, it's a me, let's a go jump pose. And his motorcycle tricks are just fine. They're extremely basic. So Mario, I think, sits well in C tier. Luigi, on the other hand, has a little bit more going for him with the I'm falling out of my car type of trick and just a generic other trick. I like his anti-gravity tricks, and overall he's okay. He's better than Mario, that's for sure. And if we put Mario in C tier, we can only put Luigi in B tier. So next up is Princess Toadstool, or Peach herself. Her tricks are, you know, they're kind of like Mario's. They are just alright. They're nothing too special, just one of her motorcycle tricks is kind of cursed. Like, what the fuck is happening with her spine? Do you see that? Blech. Anyways, Peach is a little bit better than Mario in my opinion, so she's also in C tier. So next up we have Daisy, one of my least favorite princesses, and her regular card tricks are just, I don't know, not even that okay. Her anti-gravity trick though, I really like how the dress sways in her like 360, but where Daisy shines is definitely on a motorcycle. It really expresses her like carefree type of "Hi, I'm Daisy" personality, which I'm a fan of that. So Daisy, she's a solid B tier, I think. Next up is the Princess of the Stars, Rosalina. Yeah, she's alright. Her regular tricks I think are just kinda boring both on the car and on a motorcycle, but she really shines when it comes to the anti-gravity on a motorcycle, cause she does a fucking backflip. Like, that genuinely surprised me quite a lot when I saw it the first time. Her other tricks really do bring her down, so I think she belongs in C tier. And here we have the original DLC for Mario Kart 8, Tanuki Mario. So if you wanna play Mario, Tanuki Mario is just a better Mario. His tricks are a lot better, and his anti-gravity trick is the statue from the Tanuki suit from Mario 3? Can't quite remember, but Tanuki Mario's tricks are pretty solid. I place him in a high A tier actually. He suffers a little bit because his anti-gravity motorcycle trick is just the exact same as his car one, but his other motorcycle tricks are really good, I think. So Tanuki Mario, a solid A tier. Alright, so the last one for this row is Cat Peach, and generally I'm not really a fan of this character. She just does a bunch of cat things and cat poses, I guess, which, like, yeah, they're pretty unique tricks, but I would not place her higher than C tier. So starting off the second row we have Yoshi, and his tricks are okay. One doesn't look too spectacular at the beginning, and his anti-gravity tricks aren't that great, but I like 3 of his 6 total tricks, which is 2 of the tongue tricks as well as the flutter jump on the motorcycle. Before that, I think Yoshi deserves a B tier. So now we got Toad, and you know, what can you really do with Toad? His tricks are pretty boring. I really like the backflip on the car, but that's about it, so I'll put him into C tier. Alright, so now we got Koopa Troopa, one of my actual main characters that I play in this game, and his tricks are alright. I really like the car anti-gravity trick, because he does a 720 and like pops out. I would have preferred if he actually went inside the shell, but you know, it's alright. And his motorcycle anti-gravity trick is basically the exact same, but they have a slight difference that in the car he does a 720 and then pops out, and in the motorcycle he does like a 540 or something. Koopa Troopa, he's alright. He gets a B tier. Shy Guy's next, and he's actually my most played character in this game. Hopefully that doesn't sway my opinion too much, but I do like most of his tricks. I really like the side flips he does in anti-gravity, especially on the motorcycle, because it's so like buttery smooth. But yeah, most of his tricks, I'm a fan of him. So I think Shy Guy deserves an A tier. And now we got like one of the more random characters in the game, which is Lakitu. And yes, that's how I pronounce it. Some pronounce it Lakitu, but I say Lakitu. I really like his regular tricks, but his anti-gravity and the motorcycle tricks I think are kinda lacking, so I think Lakitu deserves a C tier. Toadette. She actually somewhat surprised me with her tricks. I do like most of the tricks, I especially like that pirouette she does in anti-gravity on the car. And her bike tricks are not bad either, but her anti-gravity bike trick is kind of unsettling how quickly she turns around after landing. So that's like the only really negative thing I have about her tricks. They are somewhat basic. I really like the pirouette, and yeah, I'd put it into B tier, I think. And to end the second row we have King Boo, and sadly he's one of those characters who only has 3 tricks. His car tricks and bike tricks are the exact same, cause I guess Nintendo got lazy or something. I really do like his anti-gravity trick though, with the big tongue and stuff, and his other 2 tricks I think are pretty good as well, so even though he only has 3 tricks, I think he still deserves either a B tier or an A tier, cause yeah, his tricks are pretty good. And for the third row, which is basically the baby row, we have Baby Mario. His tricks are pretty bad. I don't really like any of them. I only like the anti-gravity car trick, because he does like a backflip with like a muscle pose, but yeah, the rest are just, yeah. I've never really been a fan of the baby characters, so I think Baby Mario will be our first D tier character. Next up we have Baby Luigi, and he's basically like Baby Mario, just flailing his arms around and, I don't know, looking at the camera sometimes. His tricks are nothing really too special, not too big of a fan of any of them for that matter. Baby Luigi is also landing in D tier. And here we got Peach again, but baby version, and this I think is one of the better baby versions. One thing I would have liked with the baby versions of all the characters is that if their crown or hat would have had slightly more physics to them in the tricks, like, you know, at the end of the trick the hat kinda starts falling off and then lands on their head again, but, you know, it is what it is. So Baby Peach, she doesn't really have any too special, like, tricks or anything that, like, you actually react to. She kinda strikes some cute little poses and stuff, and I think it's actually better than the Baby Mario brothers, so Baby Peach, she's landing in C tier. Another of the baby princesses is Baby Daisy. All of her car tricks I think are awful. They are really bad, but her motorcycle tricks are pretty good to make up for it. I especially like two of the tricks. One of the regular motorcycle ones and the anti-gravity one. Like the posing, like most of that stuff, so I think she'll land in C tier as well. And last of the baby characters we have baby Rosalina, and here I honestly only really like one trick, and it's her car anti-gravity trick. The backflip she does is really stylish, and one thing I really dislike about her tricks is her anti-gravity motorcycle trick, because it looks like she's kinda like she goes up and then she like double jumps, and it just kinda looks awful and really off. So I think Rosalina is actually landing in D tier. And now we got golden medal. What the fuck, I just drove off. Now we got golden medal Mario. I really like their posing. It's very rigid and their movements are very like snappy and fast from one pose to the other. I really enjoy his motorcycle tricks. They are really good. So I think Metal Mario might be a high A tier, potentially low S tier. And now we're finally reaching the last Peach and Mario character, which is Pink Gold Peach. And this character I honestly can't like, because I really dislike how her hair, or how her ponytail, still has physics, but she's made out of gold. I like how she's a lot more like ballet, kind of this ballerina type of style with her posing. So it's not awful. I think it's better than regular Peach, so she'll land actually in B tier. Alright, so for the fourth row we have Wario, and I actually like Wario's animations and stuff, especially on the bike. You know, him being a kind of a thick boy, they hand animated jiggle physics to him, which I didn't know was a thing until now. Because if I slow it down for you, you'll see that they actually like expand his booty to make it look like it's jiggling. So I think Wario is like a... he's solid, dude. He's like a good A tier, I think. As much as it pains me to say, Waluigi, just as you are in the game, you're an S tier character. His tricks are really clean, even though he's so lanky and tall, but they really pull off his posing and tricks really well, which I just really enjoy how they look, and his posing is so strong, you know? It's good posing. He's our first and very easy S tier. Good job, Waluigi. DK as well, he has pretty good posing. He does a bunch of muscle poses and just flexes on us. One of his motorcycle tricks is just a dab, which is... it's pretty alright. For his anti-gravity tricks, he does a backflip for the car and a front flip for the motorcycle, which, you know, it's pretty alright. Nothing too special though, so I think DK is landing in the B tier. Now we got the king of the Koopas, Bowser. And he has kind of a trick where I just think he's gonna pull out a gun or something, but he just kind of fist bumps towards the camera or something. But Bowser has some fire tricks and they're pretty alright. So I noticed one really cursed thing about Bowser when I was riding the motorcycle, that it was so cursed that it made me lose focus and I was riding the wrong way. But where is his tail? It appears when he does a trick, but then it like disappears and suctions up to his ass. I don't know, it's too cursed for me, so Bowser, you're sadly dropping down from a potential B tier to a C tier. I'm sorry, buddy. Dry Bones. So Dry Bones is sadly another undead character who only has 3 tricks. But with those 3 tricks, he does the best he can. My favorite is definitely the one where he like pulls off his head and puts it back on, but I think Dry Bones has the potential to be an S tier, but his anti-gravity trick is kinda lacking. I wish it would have been like all of his body parts just kinda floating around and then reassembling, similar to when you jump on a Dry Bones. But hey, we can't win them all, can we? I think it should be high C tier, potentially a low B tier. The Prince of all Koopas, Bowser Jr. He's also another character who only has 3 tricks. It's the exact same for the car and motorcycle, and yeah, that sadly makes him suffer. I'm not really a fan of Bowser Jr.'s tricks to begin with, and him only having 3 tricks. I'm sorry, little guy. you're landing in D tier. Now for the last character of this row, and another DLC character from Mario Kart 8, we have Dry Bowser. And let me just say, instant S tier. He's so cool looking when he does his fire attacks and stuff. He has blue fire, he has regular fire, he shoots fire forwards, he does a bunch of chomping and looks very intimidating, which is what he's supposed to do. So I really like his posing, I really like the tricks. Dry Bowser, you're landing in S tier. So the Koopalings. Starting off with Lemmy, and I think all of his tricks are actually pretty decent. He definitely deserves like an A tier. I especially love his anti-gravity motorcycle trick. But most of his tricks, they are pretty snappy, they're fast, and they have great posing. And the 360 that he does on his anti-gravity motorcycle trick is so smooth and chef's kiss. So Lemmy, I think, lands in A tier. Larry, being the Joestar of the Koopalings, he's not very good at all. Most of his tricks are just really lame or just straight up bad, so this is the hardest D tier in the entire game, I think. Wendy is okay. She kind of has these like pin-up style poses, which is kind of weird, but I'm not gonna say I'm into it. So generally, I'm not really a fan of Wendy. I really do like her anti-gravity motorcycle trick though, with the pirouette and stuff. It's really smooth and it looks quite nice. So I think that will land Wendy into C tier. Ludwig is very surprising to me, because personally I really don't like his design, but his tricks in this game, they are insane. Like, this is the best Koopaling by far. His tricks are really smooth, they're really clean, the flip is insane. Most of his poses are just really, really good, and yeah, he's an easy S tier. Good job, Ludwig. Iggy is my most played character on the Wii U, and he has a special place in my heart. His tricks though, they could use some work, they're not the best, but they're not awful. He has some good posing, he has some like funny tricks and stuff. And I personally enjoy them quite a bit, but I think a B tier is good for him. Roy the Boy, he is one of my favorite Koopalings currently, and I really like his voice lines, but his tricks are also pretty good. He genuinely surprised me a lot with his motorcycle tricks, because every time I use him I only use a car, but his motorcycle tricks are very, very clean and very good, and I personally think he deserves an S tier. So another S tier Koopaling. Good job, Roy. Now we got the last Koopaling, which is Morton, and he just... I don't like Morton at all. He just kinda... His posing and just tricks in general are just really bad in my opinion. So I'm sorry, Morton, but you're landing in D tier as well. Whew, and here we are on the last row of the character list. The quote-unquote DLC list. Where we start off with Inkling Girl, and she's one of those characters who only has 3 taunts. I keep saying taunts, I mean tricks. And those 3 tricks, I think they're aight. I really like the when they become the squid one, but other than that, it's kinda eh. So I think Inkling Girl fits well into C tier. And then we have Inkling Boy, which is basically the same thing. He does basically the exact same emotes, except with like slight variations, and I think he also belongs in C tier. So now we got the most interesting DLC character from Mario Kart 8, which was Link. Link's tricks, I think, are great. He pulls out his sword, he does some sword flips and slashes, and for his anti-gravity trick he pulls out the fucking Triforce and flexes on us about it. He does basically the same thing with the bike, but they are unique taunts. I said fucking taunts again. So Link, I think, is actually one of the better ones, so we'll give him an A tier. And now we got the Animal Crossing Villager, both the first one and the second one, because they actually have the exact same emotes. Now I said emotes instead of taunts, what am I doing? Both of the villagers, they share the same tricks. But I really do like the tricks. They basically share the same trick on the bike and in a car, but there's some slight variations between them. Before the villagers, I will give them a B tier. And now we got the dog with the bells, Isabelle. So her tricks are very similar to the villagers, where it's shared between the bike and the car, but with very slight variations. For example, with the anti-gravity emote, she kinda does a different pose, and that's basically what her tricks are. It's the same trick, but with slight variations. And, you know, I'm not really a big fan of Isabelle as a character, or her design or anything, so I'll put her into C tier. And finally, we reach the last character, and that is the Mii character. The Miis have different weight classes, but they all share the same tricks. Most of them in the car are pretty basic. I really do like the roundhouse kick, except that he kind of breaks his neck. It's a decent trick, same with the motorcycle, but this time it's like a roundhouse kick the other way. It's a roundhouse heel kick instead of just a roundhouse kick. And the tricks are pretty basic, so for the Mii characters, I think they'll also land into C tier. Whew, okay, so we made it. We did all of the characters are ranked, they're listed, they're put on the tier list, and these are the final standings for the tier list and all of the different characters and their tricks. And I want to give a shout out to P-Jiggles as well as Odyssey Central for inspiring me to make this video, where they make very similar type of content of doing different lists and rankings of many different things from different type of games. And I decided to try it myself, and I hadn't seen anyone do this type of list before, so hey, why not take my shot at it? It's been a fun experiment. I haven't made a video like this in forever. Like, last time I made anything close to this was probably my top 9 TF2 classes, which was like 5 years ago? 6 years ago? It was a lot of work to make this video, so if you did enjoy, I would highly appreciate a like or a comment saying what you thought. And all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.